During our conversation at the table, I asked my colleagues about how we can better prepare our students to be estimators.
Sophia, I'm a product of the Texas A&M system, and my undergrad's in architecture and my graduate degree's in construction management. And I say today, and the last 15 years as I've been talking to industry people, my number one best experience at Texas A&M was the capstone class, where for anyone who doesn't know, the capstone class is a class where they take the architecture, the design, it's an environmental design program. They take junior and senior level students from environmental design, pair them up with construction science junior, senior level students, and they do a semester-long project where the design team is responsible for coming up with a design concept, and the construction side of the team is responsible for coming up with the estimate and the schedule, and they have to work together throughout the semester, and then they make a presentation. Are we still doing that? Okay, that number one best class in my career, or in my education, because of the real hands-on reality experience that it provided. But to more directly answer your question, I do think we have to introduce some level of three-dimensionality into the program, because that's where we're going. The train's still somewhere out there on the tracks in terms of model-based estimating, and some organizations are doing more than others, but as a whole, we're not quite there yet, but it's coming. And so to some degree, our students have to be at least introduced to the language of 3D modeling. No, absolutely. I still think 2D is going to continue to be pervasive for sure, and part of our raw skill sets, if you will. So drawings aren't going away yet, so we still got to be able to read plans and do 2D takeoff and that kind of thing. So.
Yeah, you can never underestimate the need for the contractual arrangements to be just right, the time you're brought on board to be just right, and the architectural team to be just right to be able to capture a Revit model and be able to capture all of the quantities in it and do it as efficiently as you can in a 2D takeoff in certain systems. And I think that moving forward in the industry as 3D continues to be more prevalent and continues to play a bigger role in what we do, just doing straight takeoff and linking elements to an estimate, and just the way the industry is set up right now is not inherent to making that as efficient as possible, and it's all really about being efficient.
As it relates to being in school, a big part of being in school is becoming aware of things that you don't even know exist. So whether it's Revit or any other platform, at least getting them involved in what that process looks like and why it's important. We talk about WVSs and all this other, these other terms or these acronyms for things, but until they actually go through and they use it once or twice to kind of experience it, they don't even realize why it's important. And so as an architect, we start harping on the quality of the model, or as a contractor, we start harping on the quality of the model. Yeah. The reason we're harping on it is because either it's not, assembled correctly, or it's lacking information, or so on. So, the tool's somewhat agnostic, but the process is still really important.
Yeah, and I'd say the advice still remains, from my perspective, from an old guy, get out in the field and do some time in the field before you decide that pre-construction is the way that you want to go.
Good point.
Yeah, within our organization, kind of a sideline from this, but one of the things that we've been really pushing hard is to have some of our younger staff come in, and they may go into pre-con first, or they may go straight to the field for a year, and then we switch them in and out over the first few years of their career, so that they get that exposure. Because when they're trying to estimate it in the virtual world, and then they go out and they say, oh, so there are form boards and all this other stuff that make it, and there's heat in the winter, why would you have that? When they get to go out there and they live it for a year and they freeze their butt off in a high-rise downtown, they go, oh, I get it. Yeah. So they don't have to be taught that lesson twice.